All right, let's get her going. Game 3, Edmonton. Welcome into the real Kyper and Bourne show. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. Derek Brandeau's back. Jake the Snake Schultz is also in. We're live on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver, Sportsnet 960 in Calgary, and in color on Sportsnet 360 and Sportsnet Plus.
In color is a nice add-on there.
Not bad, eh?
No.
Do you think anyone has a black and white?
No.
No?
I don't think that exists anymore, no.
And
I think I may have a few uncles that still might
Think
have
so?
one.
Got the big wooden box set.
And if you watch in color, you can see our brand new Oilers jersey.
There we go.
I do not know where it came from. It
It's
has
the most vile Oilers jersey they've ever made.
and it has a winner's tag on it for $29.99. And I'll tell you who's on the back. Adam Larson.
That's why it's $29.99.
Nice, nice.
So there you go.
We got one, though.
Oh, we got one.
Go Oilers.
As
The
a
worst one ever
reminder,
made.
this hour, Real Kyper and Bourne, is brought to you by Bet365. Okay, in a few minutes, we'll welcome in David Amber, fresh off of, I'm sure, a real quick trip from Florida to Edmonton.
Yeah, hop, skip, and a jump.
Enough for him and Kyle to take pictures on Instagram of them working out.
Little known fact, Kyle was actually the weights for DA. DA was just pressing Bukauskas
I
in the
believe that.
gym.
I believe that. So we'll get into a ton, but first of all, the news out of Miami, the floods, chaos everywhere in southern Florida, the delay, the not getting in till after 8 p.m. the night before. Is this got a chance, guys, in your opinion? We'll start with you, JB, to play a factor into tonight.
I think if you talk to a lot of these sports science doctors, one of the things that they are learning is that the recovery right after a game is the most important thing, right? To not play a game, get in late, go through all that travel. I think the idea of playing, sleeping in your own bed, waking up whenever, having a good rest, I don't think this matters. They traveled the day before a game. That's fine, but they had lots of rest at home before they left. No big deal.
The head coach of the Florida Panthers, Paul Maurice, who we love to listen to, completely agrees with you, Barney. If we can, you want to listen to the clip of him talking about it?
Go.
All right, let her rip there, Derek. Number 1, Paul Maurice.
We pay a bunch of really smart people to have better answers than we do, right? At no point when a guy gets a cold do they come to see me how they should fix it. So we got a whole bunch of people. This is the way we do it. We have reasons for it. It's reasoned, and I'm 100% good with it. Like, to put this in perspective, our day got pushed 2 hours.
Yeah.
Right, so we spent an hour at our rink, a little longer. We got an unbelievable rink. The busiest time in the NHL is when you leave for a road game. From the time the guy gets off the ice till you get to the airport. So, and it's kind of hectic. The trains are pulling bags. There's guys flying all over the place. So that disappeared. We sat there. Our chef is unbelievable. The coaches put on 7 pounds yesterday. That's the only ramification. We ate 12 meals, right? They got on the plane. We spent an extra hour and a half on the tarmac, whatever it was. They played cards. They laughed. Every time one of the trainers rocked in and he was soaked from head to toe, he got a standing ovation. And then the flight was the same line. So we get here at 8 o'clock instead of 6 o'clock or whatever it was.
So therefore,
I love his answer because it hopefully sets a tone
For the team, no
for
excuses.
the team. No excuses. But he's looking at it as a 58-year-old man. Yeah. You got 20-something kids there that are used to routines, and they don't like it. I'm telling you, they don't like it. And I think they were nuts for leaving as late as they were on its own. Yeah. You got the extra day. Take the extra day. When I was with the New York Rangers, anytime they had an extra day, they got us in. If it meant practicing on the road, get your mentality of being on the road started. Yeah. Don't wait.
I agree with you that were I in charge of things, we'd have gone a day earlier. Get there the night before. If there is any travel hassles, you don't have to worry about it. You're there, you're established, you're set up. It's all about the hockey. They're prioritizing the rest here.
Yep.
Might have backfired a little bit.
And, there is this thing called the Stanley Cup Final. There's media there. They need to tell stories. They're there to tell two sides of stories. And I'm not, listen, trust me, my first thought is I don't care, win a cup. It's not to answer to the media.
Talk to you after.
But there is a responsibility there as well. And again, why do you leave it to chance? A part could be missing off a plane. Forget about weather. It's anything. You just take a chance now. This is not November getting in 8:00 that night on a game in November. This is the Stanley Cup Finals. I thought they were crazy to leave so late.
I guess I am closer to Maurice on this. I don't know if there is some obligation for the team to be there earlier for media purposes, and that should be expressed to the team. If it is up to them, believe their people have them set up to feel as good as possible. Puck drop tonight. I don't think it's much of a story.
I will say this. From an Edmonton side, I'm not buying what he's saying, Paul Maurice.
Yeah.
I'm Edmonton. You need to be up 1-0 in the first 10 minutes.
You just feel like put them on their heels, make them doubt the way that they prepared for this game. And
you got to plant that seed on the first few shifts that you guys screwed up your schedule and you're off your rhythm and we're taking full advantage of it.
So this is actually a very big behind the scenes thing with NHL teams now, is trying to coordinate how to get guys feeling the best. Who makes that decision? It's interesting hearing Maurice say, this is not, my decision. At the end of the day, the coach is in charge of all this stuff. If he wants to say, oh, yeah, the guys we pay say we need to go a day later, I want to go tomorrow, we're going tomorrow. He can say that. That's his choice.
And there's people that travel, like make just strictly you're in charge of the travel.
Hockey ops, baby.
Right? And
God, like stressful.
That's
my nightmare job.
Yeah.
There are teams that would say, and I think Gord Stellick told this, that we've lost 2 in a row in that we're changing hotels. And it's like, what are you talking about? We're changing hotels.
Right.
No, we're just changing hotels. Now, that's how dumb and superstitious a coach or general manager could be.
I get it.
And you're paying, as Paul Maurice said, you're paying some people that are supposed to be a lot smarter than you, but no, you're changing hotels. Where's the department on that one?
Brad Lynn is the Leafs guy, and he was with the Marlies when I was with the Marlies, and Sheldon Keefe was like this, where he would be like, hey, we ate at Delmonico's the other night, and we got smoked. We're not eating at Delmonico's tonight. And he'd be like, the reservation's at Delmonico's. He'd be like, well, we're eating somewhere else. And now he's on the phone. He's like,
go tell that to your sleep doctor.
Panic, trying to get things organized.
I know how annoying that would be for the person that coordinates it. I'm on the coach's side on this one. That's bad luck. Like, there's sports bars in Toronto I will not go to for a big game because I got a bad record there. I get it. Anyways,
it's ridiculous.
It is. Yeah. But
we got our boy.
Yeah. Let's welcome him in, David Amber.
There he
who's
is.
been. What have you been doing, waiting for Florida to come into town? Like, how big of a deal was this travel situation from the media side, David?
Nick, I think you guys hit it on the head a little bit. It made a lot of noise out here. I think the way a lot of us looked at it through the lens of someone who's in the media, and Nick, you look at it probably both ways. As a player, you're just like, I don't care, I want to win the cup. From a media standpoint, a lot of us were saying, I'm not sure there's another league that wouldn't mandate both teams be on the ground to promote the biggest spectacle of the season. Had the Florida Panthers been mandated to be here on Tuesday, it would have avoided some of their travel headaches, but it also would have given a great platform for the media to get to one location to try and tell the stories that need to be told and focus on all the interesting storylines. And, that wouldn't happen in the NFL or the NBA or probably Major League Baseball for that matter. So we were a little bit surprised. And, I'll go all the way back to games 1 and 2. Florida didn't even practice at Amerant Bank Arena. They were practicing at their practice facility. And I'm telling you, there was about 20 to 25 minutes between the practice facility and their home rink. So it was physically impossible to go and listen in on Paul Maurice with all these glorious sound bites in the morning of the game, and then get in time to hear from Chris Knoblauch and the Edmonton Oilers players. So you almost had to divide and conquer as best possible. So I'm surprised the logistics weren't a little bit more airtight between the two teams mandated by the league.
Part of me, DA, hearing that is like, promote the game. Like, do we not think that Oilers, people in Edmonton were aware that there's a game coming up here? Like, what this? I feel like if you're the Florida Panthers, you don't take that responsibility on yourself. So you feel like the league should be involved in that.
Yeah, I felt it was like, you do you.
Yeah.
If that was the
Right.
mandate.
And they are doing them.
And listen, Kyper brought up a good point. I can tell you firsthand how difficult it was to get out of Fort Lauderdale. I talked to one of the Swedish reporters who wasn't as fortunate to get on the same flight we were on. It took him 37 hours to get from Fort Lauderdale through Denver to Edmonton. And I realized, obviously the teams are on charters, but the Oilers charter had to refuel in Kansas City, so they did have to make a stop. And they were shutting down lots of airlines. So,
wow,
Florida was delayed by what, 3.5, 4 hours. But as Nick said, it could have been a much different scenario had there been a problem with the plane or any other mechanical issue. It just seemed a lot to leave for chance. Like, you can't mess around. They got in at 8:30 last night locally here in Edmonton. A few more hours delayed, and they could have put themselves in serious jeopardy of, rolling in at midnight local time with a 6 p.m. start the next day. I'm just not sure it's worth it. And let's say there is a game 6 back here in Edmonton with a similar 2-day gap. I bet you Florida might reconsider, and maybe with the league's urging, they might fly on the first day possible.
We're talking to David Amber, studio host with Hockey Night in Canada, getting everybody set for Game 3 in Edmonton. So if you're the Oilers, how important is a good start? How important is it that they don't go down 1-0 and maybe take advantage of a team that maybe you hope is off their rhythm because of the travel?
Kyper, first of all, I think we got a 2-for-1 deal on our shirts. I'm just noticing that right now. So it's hilarious.
Kip's is a little more lawn bowling.
Hey,
yours is golf.
But mine isn't a boys' medium.
Oh, man. I think it's paramount. The Oilers' MO, listen, in their 12 wins, they've trailed for a grand total of 33 minutes. So let that marinate for a little bit. They are great at taking the lead and letting the other team chase the game. They're not so great and proficient at trying to track down the puck in the lead against the Florida team that all they do is shut you down, right? I know a lot of people are probably listening and saying, well, wait a minute, they had the 1-goal lead in Game 2. It didn't work out so well. This is true. However, I think it would be paramount in their home arena, and I saw this, and we saw this in Game 6 versus Dallas. They got up to that 2-goal lead, and they hung on for dear life, and they had a superlative goaltending performance from Stuart Skinner. But I think a lead will get the crowd re-engaged, more engaged, will create a very, hostile environment. And more importantly, more than anything else, they just won't have to chase the game, because one thing about Florida is they're just very good at locking down teams. The Oilers, as well as they played in Game 1, and they maybe by all accounts deserve to win that game, they didn't have much brewing in the third period, guys. If you look back at that, rewatch the tape from the third period in Florida and in Game 1, and Florida did a great job of just sort of, Oilers would come down the ice, one and done, puck out, and reset. And you just don't want to be chasing the game. And I really do think that first goal would be really, really key. They didn't have to chase that much against Dallas. They certainly haven't had to chase during their victories. And already they've been trailing in, over 70 minutes so far, just 2 games into this series. That's too much for the Oilers to be trying to track down the Florida Panthers.
It's super hard to play that way. We know they can't lose Game 3 here. So, what's the power rankings of players who need to have good games for the Edmonton Oilers to win Game 3? To me, it's like, if Skinner's not good, that's going to take the wind out of their sails. If McDavid isn't great, they're not going to score enough. They need Draisaitl going. They need Nurse. What is your kind of list of guys here where it's priority for them to have big nights?
Well, I'll say it goes without saying, the goaltender, whether you're talking about Edmonton, Florida, or any team, you're only going to be maybe as good as your goaltender. So I'll leave them out of the equation.
Okay.
If you're going to look at forwards specifically, I'm going to say Leon Draisaitl. Connor McDavid's been playing very well and maybe just hasn't gotten the results he's looking for. Leon Draisaitl struggled a little bit in Game 2. Didn't have all the step that he usually has. And Leon Draisaitl has been an incredible, consistent performer throughout his career. I looked this up, and our Sportsnet stats team looked this up for me, I should say. The last time he's gone 3 games in a row without a point was before COVID. Think about that. Leon Draisaitl, March of 2020 was the last time he went 3 straight games without a point. If he doesn't get a point tonight, this becomes the latest time that's happened. He's been that good, that consistent. You know, there's a lot of speculation he's ailing through something, and that wouldn't surprise me at all. That's one thing, if there is a concern, and Elliot brought this up in our post game hit after game 2. The one big concern, you know, Kane, we know he's going through all sorts of physical ailments. Nurse clearly is going through something. There's lots of speculation. Draisaitl, McDavid, a few other guys are definitely banged up, and that's the worry if it's the total flip script, right? Last year it was Florida hobbling into the final, like 2 or 3 guys playing on broken feet, you know, the sternum that Tkachuk suffered during the final, etc. There was all those issues for them. Florida seems very healthy and good to go right now, and it's the Oilers. There's all these question marks there. But to me, it doesn't all rest only on Draisaitl, but if you're going to make me pick out one guy to sort of get this offense going, whether it's on the power play or more importantly 5-on-5, I would look to 29.
How about loading up 29 and 97 right off the top here? Go big or go home?
Yeah, Nick, this is a must win, right? I mean, we don't have to do the math. If they lose tonight, they're not coming back to win 4 straight, barring an incredible miracle, right? So this is the season, this is the series tonight. So to some degree, they're going to ride these guys, whether we see them play 28, 29 minutes. It wouldn't shock me. It's certainly dictated by how the game's going. If the Oilers are trailing, you're going to see a steady diet. And that is always that nuclear option at the disposal for Chris Knoblauch. Whether he starts them together or not on a line, I'm not sure. But we know if the game necessitates, we need scoring, we need it quickly, and we're going to load it up, then I won't be shocked at all to see that.
So it sounds like Barkov's going to be back in. Tarasenko's going to be back in. Florida, we're expecting them to put their best foot forward. I want to ask about the being home and the fans and the energy there. Is this a good thing for the Oilers in your mind? Is that extra bit of scrutiny and attention what they need, the wind at their back to push them forward, or does it make it the pressure mount a little bit more being at home?
No, it's a good thing, Justin. It's a really good thing. Their season was on the line game 6 versus Vancouver. That home momentum carried them through that game. Their season was essentially on the line game 4 versus Dallas. The momentum of the home ice carried them through the game. And they were trailing. Remember, they were trailing, what was it? 3-1, 2-0. I can't remember the specifics. Things were not going well, and then they rattled off 5 straight goals against the Dallas Stars in that game for victory. Home ice, there's an advantage here, guys. The atmosphere was electric. It was wild. I can't stress this enough. It wasn't just electric following goals and big hits. You know, Dallas was in their zone for 45 of the 60 minutes in that game 6 clinching game, and the crowd was up on its feet. Let's go Oilers. They were pushing them to the finish line, and the players talked about that in the post game. It really was deafeningly loud, very great atmosphere. It's a beautiful day outside today. It's about 20 degrees. The moss pit outside, everything's going to be electric. Inside, there's going to be a real level of excitement there. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a hostile environment. And just look a year ago, Vegas won the first 2 at home. Florida didn't really have a shot in that series. They were just beaten up and outmanned in that series. The one game they won, game 3, back on home ice, a little bit of momentum, a little bit of desperation, etc. And I think it'll be that same sort of environment here tonight at Rogers Place.
As far as this blue line is concerned on Edmonton, David, what's the easy answer? 7D here. Nurse could not play the majority of game 2. Is there anybody that believes that he can come back and play in game 3?
Well, Chris Knoblauch was uncommittal. He was non-committal about what his lineup was going to look like. But based on what we could ascertain by going into the dressing room and seeing who was skating longer, et cetera, it does look like Corey Perry, there's a very significant chance he'll draw back in. It does look like Sam Carrick might draw out based on the fact he took a lot of extra ice this morning. Derek Ryan's another player who could draw in. And then more specifically on the blue line, I do wonder if they're going to go 11-7. Cody Ceci came off in a fairly timely fashion. We don't know. So these are guesses, educated guesses, I guess you could say. But maybe Darnell Nurse is such a warrior, and whether they give him treatment, he's had 48 hours essentially since the injury, plus 48 hours plus since the injury. Whether he gets some treatment, but you don't want to run the risk of, Nurse aggravates something because they're going to be running hard at him. and you're down to 5D again, and you got to play Bouchard for 30 minutes. If you have Cody Ceci in there, you have that extra layer of protection. You could have 7D. And we talked about it earlier. You talked about marching out 97 and 29. What if you go 11-7? That's not necessarily the worst thing. That's a steadier diet of the superstar players that are essentially going to have to lead the way here. So that wouldn't shock me at all. I definitely think there's a scenario where we go 11-7 with the Oilers, or see 11-7 with the Oilers. And I'm not sure who the odd man out would be. You know, Ryan McLeod certainly took a bit of extra time on the ice this morning. Maybe that's a scenario that could play out. But I'm these are all speculative things for me, but it wouldn't shock me at all if they just want to have that security blanket, because, you know, again, you don't want to run into the risk. Darnell Nurse played 4 minutes last game. You can't run the risk of him aggravating something or not being 100% ready, and you're stuck.
Last one for me, DA. Just want to get your thoughts on Connor McDavid's comments between games 2 and 3 here, what I would call confident defiance, where he basically said our power play tends to figure out good penalty kills. And, you know, we'll see what we're made of in here. And, you know, he's had a bit of swagger between games.
And the one that caught my ear was, I love when people doubt us.
Yeah.
Like, we like proving them wrong. Yeah, they've got a little bit of that, you know, that's a little bit of what's driving them, for sure, is sort of people have been doubting us. We were doubted versus Vancouver. We were doubted during Dallas. I mean, we all remember what the storylines were going into game 4 versus Dallas. It was all this Darnell Nurse was getting buried by the media, and where's the Oilers offense, and is this moment too big, and blah, blah, blah. And they kind of looked it in the face and sort of gave the old royal, you know, F you, we're going to do this. And I think there's definitely part of that right now. And, you know, Nick, you've been there in 94, and I'm sure you guys were feeling it a bit. Your backs up against what was going on against Vancouver, and, you know, found a way, and it was like us against the world. You guys go out to Lake Placid and get it all sorted out before
we were cooked.
You know, winner take all.
People had us written off,
right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, we were the team that was going to blow it to Vancouver Canucks. In fact, game 5 ticket sold higher than game 7's.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because people didn't want to be disappointed spending $10,000 on a ticket.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. And there's a little bit of that in Edmonton with the players. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a good thing to go. And I don't know if you call it swagger, but it's a belief. It's an inner belief. You know, Connor said something early in the series. He just said, he looks around the room. He goes, we're the right age to be winning. And I know what he means by that. They're not looking around and there's a bunch of 19, 20-year-olds cutting their teeth trying to figure things out, right? Philip Broberg's a young guy, obviously. Evan Bouchard's still a young guy. They have a few young guys, but the young guys, I think, recognize the significance of where they are and recognize this moment. And then you look around the room, and whether it's the Corey Perrys or the other guys, letting the guys know how hard this is to get to this position. Matthias Ekholm was there in 2017. He's had to wait 7 more years since to get back to the Stanley Cup Final. The guys recognize what's in front of them. Listen, they might not win this series, they might not win this game, but I don't think you're going to get a lesser version than what the Oilers can bring to the table tonight.
Excellent stuff as always, DA. Yesterday, I think you and Kyle put out a picture of you guys in the weight room yesterday, and I'm wondering today, can we expect maybe the two of you on the roller coaster at the Edmonton Mall? What's next? I can't wait to keep following you on Instagram and seeing you take pictures of yourself.
Oh man, I do not do that very often. There was a reason for that to myself, but. But by the way, the gym we've got to at the JW Marriott is one of the best gyms you're going to find on the road for any.
Awesome. Well, listen. If that picture saved the two of you $12 to get in, then good on you. Good on you.
Way to leverage your brand.
Right?
Well done.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Tell Elliot we want to see what suit he's wearing tonight, too. We can't wait for that one.
I'm sensing some sarcasm. You'll have to wait till puck drop tonight. So, hey, enjoy the game, guys.
You too, buddy.
Listen, tonight's the night. It's that swing game. We could have a series after tonight. So let's hope for that. For nothing else, as hockey fans, this series deserves to go a little longer, and an Edmonton Oiler win guarantees it'll go a little longer.
Awesome.
100%.
Have a blast.
Enjoy. Thanks, fellas.
Have a blast. That's David Amber, one of the great voices on Hockey Night in Canada. Did
all over our teammates,
did I make up for giving it to him?
No, it was good. I really am rooting for the Oilers tonight. I want a series.
Well, these are pretty evenly matched teams, I feel like. You know, like we could have a good series.
The margin,
here
like they could use a bounce, right? They could just use a couple of bounces and be in a position where, you make Florida chase a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. They're very close teams. Can I say one negative thing about this?
Yes.
Skinner still scares me.
Oh, yeah.
He hasn't.
Yeah, I know.
He's still. They're still outmatched in that one area, and there hasn't been a moment where he's like come up and been like a feature player in the conversation. Hopefully, it's because he's awesome and he surprises us, which can very well happen too. But that does make me nervous.
I do worry about that blue line, and I know Darnell has his issues sometimes, but you need him somewhat healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's already taxing as it is, but
yeah, him playing at 80%.
I know exactly where he got hurt too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lindell hit him about 5 minutes in. He tried a reverse hit, and then you could see him reach for his, what I think,
hip
pointer.
Mm-hmm.
The OG Anunoby injury.
And let me tell you
That's
something.
what everyone says.
You can't you can't massage that thing out in 2 days.
No.
So that to DA's point, and I think across the board we all are very against 11-7. But to DA's point in talking about that, having an extra guy there, if he's going to be able to struggle in more time for Draisaitl and McDavid, it does kind of make sense, right?
I think at this point in the series, if you're in a situation where you got to give some double shifts to Draisaitl and McDavid because you got 11 guys, okay.
Yeah, I think you're going to be okay. But Draisaitl is
throw it at the wall here.
Draisaitl's dry, and like, what's he got? McLeod on one side, and like, it's not a lot to work with.
Yeah.
On a line for him right now.
These guys make chicken salad out of whatever you give.
There's the other chicken right now.
What's the? Not familiar with it.
Chicken salad out of.
Oh yeah, I've heard it. No,
so that's why I think he could use a nice dose of 97 right now.
Yeah.
Why not at this point? But I'm really excited for the game tonight. But I am concerned for the Oilers. Like, I think the parallels to last year that have been brought up a lot. DA brought it up. It's just one really banged up team and one team that's just humming.
I hate to see it come down to injury, so they need one tonight, boy.
Yep.
Do we want Maurice?
Oh.
Do we want Maurice on Barkov?
Yeah, it's a very quick one. So Let's hear it. Clip 2.
Tarasenko and Barkov both good to go?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
There you go.
We got him.
Yeah.
Barkey in the mix.
It's a pleasure. Like, it is a pleasure to watch him play defense.
Mm-hmm.
And I know
the way he angles people out of the middle in the neutral zone, like slows down people and pushes them to the outside.
Bobrovsky says that when he's on the ice, that's when everything straightens out.
Mm-hmm.
That everybody's in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
When he's on the ice. I can't think of a better compliment.
I also think it's such an easy place to come at a series from when everyone is saying you're great because you're defensive. You know, the bar is suddenly not, he's got to get points. He's not producing. We need him to do this. Everyone's saying standing ovation because you defend. And I think it's so easy to go out. Yeah. You just go out and all you got to do, you're not forcing it.
No.
They're just asking you to do this one thing. And then it comes easier the other way.
It's a great point.
You know, you're not squeezing the stick.
Like, did Bobrovsky just get that much better, or did they get that much better in front of him in the last year and, I don't know, 2 months in the playoffs last year?
If you look at Carolina's goaltending over the past 5 or 6 years, their numbers are amazing. They're not name guys. It's Nedeljkovic and Anderson and Kochetkov and whatever. But because their D is so good, their goalies' numbers are almost always great. And some of that is rink effect. But that's what I think is happening for Bobrovsky, where suddenly it's just way easier to be a goalie. Little from column A and little from column B. Correct.
And just little advice to the Oilers if they find themselves on a breakaway against this guy.
Hi.
You're not beating him on the backhand around him.
Yeah, you're not going around the guy.
You're not going around him.
No. He's like Vasilevsky in that way.
So
post to post.
Well, you scored on Patrick Waugh. What would you do on him if you're on
I went top cheese on Patrick.
You're snapping one under the bar.
I glove.
Well, backhand high works, but you can't try to go backhand 5-0.
But his feet.
He's got edges on his blades. He's so pushed in, like he's able to get post to post so fast.
And he's not stressed.
No.
Like, you watch goalies under certain scenarios, and you can see stress.
This is what happens again when you've had some success and the pressure's off. Like it's for Bob, he's just
there's, and I think you mentioned stress, and just for the whole Florida Panthers in general, like this is just so stress-free for them because they're really good. They don't have to answer really to anybody.
and that can change. The Oil can put the stress on.
Yeah, sure, I guess. Like internally, but they don't have any like fan stakes for this. Like if they lose these 2 games in heartbreaking fashion, the people of wherever they're in Fort Lauderdale, or it's just gonna be like
Kepka's going to be there still rooting him on.
they're gonna be like, oh darn, we'll go back outside. Like it's just there's so
Murray still hasn't put pressure on his own team in these press conferences and the way he comments on it. Like he's really been very relaxed this whole postseason. So it's up to Edmonton to find a way to make them stressed. And by the way, one of those things is, let's say you hit Barkov 3 more times tonight.
Oh yeah,
And all of a sudden he's a little not so sure about game 4. That might be on their menu too.
I will say,
I'm not saying to do it. I'm saying they might be on theirs.
no supplementary discipline for Draisaitl, which I think we discussed.
That sets the bar for what comes next.
If I'm a player on the ice, I am very aware of when number 9, Sam Bennett, is on the ice for the Florida Panthers. Keep your head up.
Yeah, but also for 16, giving him one.
Yeah.
Like if you're not suspending Leon for skates off the ground, elbow into the jaw.
That's 2 games in the regular season.
Sure
You know that,
is.
right?
But
Yeah,
Barkov's not gonna do that.
No, Barkov isn't going to do it, but I'm saying they need to put licks on him. They
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
take him out of this
Yeah,
series.
but be careful, right? Be careful. This is, if you're Edmonton, one
Probably got away with one.
bad penalty here, and your season's over.
Yeah.
That's the territory you're in now.
Yeah.
This screams
High stake.
This screams to me of Bennett taking a run at somebody,
And them going, he did it.
or like
Draisaitl.
him hammering somebody, it being on the
Yeah.
border like it always is. Then everybody hoping
Yeah.
he got kicked out, and then he scores the winner. That's what I see coming.
It's got to be really situational. I just don't see Bennett coming in with that attitude
Yeah.
and throwing. No,
You don't?
No, not up to nothing. Not in Edmonton.
He's not trying to change the tone of the series.
You don't need to change it. You don't need to message send. Bigger picture, Sammy.
Okay.
Bigger picture.
But I do think that it opens the door to, you didn't suspend Draisaitl for that hit. You sure can't
Possibly.
suspend me for this.
But
He's a bit of a nail gun, boys. I think he could be running around pretty good.
I think they're.
Yeah.
No, I don't see it.
Okay.
I see it. I see it controlled.
All right.
I see a controlled chaos out of him tonight because being up to nothing, you don't want to. You don't want to derail anything here on your own.
Don't worry. I'm
So, all
not gonna
right, we're going to take a quick break.
What you gonna do?
Lots of news.
Freak out.
All right, we done?
Half baked was
Yeah,
playing
that's
in
funny.
my ear.
All right. Plenty of news and notes to get into after the break, including a major announcement out of St. Louis.
Yeah, they named their GM in 2034.
All right. And also, pretty good. Pending UFA is no longer available, to the disappointment of the Vancouver Canucks, the Edmonton Oilers, the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'll explain after the break. More Real Kyper and Bourne after these words. The Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. All right. Plenty to get into. Where do you want to go first? St.
Game
Louis?
time. We'll do game time first.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Producer has spoken.
I have spoken.
Host, be quiet.
Yeah. It's game time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. So just looking at the actual line for tonight, the Panthers are underdogs here, plus 115, and the Oilers are minus 135 on the money line.
Big faves.
So they anticipate that, the Oilers are a really good team. They're in the final here, first home game at home. They think it's going to happen. If you like Florida and you think Florida's a really good team and you think they're going to win this, it's a really good number for a really good team who's playing really well. So plus 115 there. Cooked up a little same game parlay here. If you go on Bet365, Edmonton to win and Connor to have 3+ points is plus 325. You figure if they're going to win this game tonight, Connor's going to have a big night. So that's a big one there. And just quickly looking at the U.S. Open, Patrick Cantlay leads at -5. If you go all the way down, you'll find Scotty Scheffler, who is still the betting favorite. He's +1 right now. He's on the course. You can get him now at 4-1 as opposed to 3-1 to start the tournament, and he's 6 strokes back. So
How good is that guy?
they think he's pretty good at golf still. So interesting start to the U.S. Open. The course is looking wonderful. It's going to be crunchy by the weekend. So good sports weekend this weekend, guys. Euro's starting up tomorrow, so it's going to be a really fun one in the city of Toronto.
I feel like the Edmonton Oilers are going to win tonight, and I think they're going to do it with Draisaitl involved. So there you go. Give me a Draisaitl combo with the win for Edmonton.
Minimum 2 points out of Connor for the Edmonton Oilers.
I mean, it kind of has to be, right?
If they win 2-1 and he gets 1 point, it could still be a very good night for him. But
yeah. No,
you think if the over, what do you have the over at 5
tonight? They're going to score on the power play tonight, and that means Connor's in on that one. Probably Leon scores it.
The total is 5.5. Over is plus money. Under is minus 125. So I think it's going to be a tight game. I think
4-3 Oilers, and Connor has 2-1, 1-2.
Yep, sounds good.
You think they're going to get 4 past Bobrovsky? I don't know.
Empty netter.
Okay. I don't know, boys. I have a hard time seeing it. But anyways, that was Game Time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
Did you guys catch the dummy cop on the SUV at the U.S. Open portraying?
No,
it was that wasn't that.
Where was that?
It was at somebody's like home course.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
No, or was it at the memorial?
No, it was at, I don't exactly know where the video was, but I think it was at somebody's like member guest or whatever. And they like attached like a dummy cop to the side of it and like drove the car in. So
it was very well done.
It was very well done.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So Scotty, the criminal, he's out there doing well today. So anyways.
Did you wrap up?
I'm done.
All right. Where do you want to go? St. Louis or Carolina?
Let's go with, you're into the Carolina thing, I know for sure.
Well,
Chatfield's your boy.
Yeah, Chatfield's my boy. Very disappointed that he did not take it to July 1st. I think he left as much as $1.5 million, 2, maybe even $3 million, depending if a team wanted to overpay.
Total money. Yeah.
And again, 6'1", 6'2", right-handed shot, can skate.
28 years old. He's kind of young Tanev. His defensive metrics are through the roof. Like, they're better than Carolina's when he's not on.
Yeah.
And he quietly has 14 goals over the last 2 years. It's not like he doesn't score a little bit. You can't tell me teams wouldn't be, like, vying for that, competing for that as a UFA.
Vancouver wanted him to take a run at him. Edmonton wanted to take a run at him. The Toronto Maple Leafs wanted to take a run at him.
Now, it's very possible that the player himself, very comfortable in Carolina, he had a number he wanted to get. They got there.
Loves the coach.
Loves the coach.
Loves the coach. Wanted to play for Rod. That's the Rod factor.
I mean, that's hard to. I mean, you just got $9 million bucks.
By the way, if you're Rod Brindamore, you look at your owner and say, "I just saved you money and got you a good player." Cousin,
where's my money?
So this could be also another. Is $3 million in Carolina the equivalent to 3.6 or 7?
Yes, it is.
In Vancouver,
Toronto,
probably 4.
You know,
right?
Yeah, I forgot. They're able to cheat down there.
They also have the cheat
That's
advantage.
the cheat factor as well.
We're just going to be resentful up here in Canada now and call it cheating. But
I like him a lot. Yeah,
I still think, if Toronto had given him something close to the Brody deal, where it's like 4 times, let's say 4.5 or something, I wouldn't have batted an eye. I'd been like, all right, he's great. Anyway, good for Carolina.
Well, and
Eric Tulsky on the board.
I think it's for some though.
Good first signing.
Yeah. It's still debatable. Like what it is he can look like a top 4 defenseman, but when all the things are settled and you got this championship caliber team, does he fit in on your third pair or your second pair?
Yeah, you're right. He's probably on a championship team. He's probably a third pair guy, so maybe that's a lot to spend. He could be a second pair guy, though. I think he's good enough.
Yeah, I just think he should have squeezed Carolina more because they're losing 2 or 3 guys. Are they not on the back end?
Shea and Pesci, right? Or both UFAs. But
and I told him I'd rather have this kid than Pesci.
Yeah. Wow, that's bold.
But I'm looking at his cap friendly, soon to be gone. But I'm looking at it like this is a lot of money for him considering what he's made. Like he's been in the $700K range his whole
McMahon
career.
Making sure he got a payday here.
He had to be talked out of waiting on their original offer probably around 2.
Oh, really?
2.5.
Yeah.
But when you get that guy, right, that just, to Sammy's point, this is more money than I'll ever see. You mentioned the signing bonuses.
Yeah.
There is some protection there.
Yeah, his first year is a $2 million or more signing bonus. The next year, it's like similar.
So, Sammy,
Yes.
same agent as Mitch Marner. And everybody says that Mitch
Oh,
Marner's agent goes the distance, wants to go to July 1st,
Wow.
right? Squeeze the most money out of any organization.
Well, we got to June 13th. That's pretty close. We're getting there.
Same agent that took a little less in Carolina. Does that excite Leaf fans, Sammy?
No. No, people were excited today because Freed just talking about Marner maybe going to Vegas. So people got fired up about that.
Is that the
And what do you
latest?
have coming in return? Shea Theodore?
I mentioned Shea Theodore, yeah.
Who's a left-handed shot?
He's a left-handed shot.
Yeah. Need right.
Need right.
Shea
Theodore's really
Need
good.
I know.
If that is the type of, because you know me, I've talked about it, been mad about wanting to trade him, all this stuff. But like at my core, I'm afraid of the trade. That is the type of trade
If you
where
take Shea Theodore, you make Riley expendable.
Yeah. And Shea Theodore was better than Riley. Right?
Friedman said one of the things with Marner is that a lot of people suspect that Vegas will be around it because Vegas is just smart. They're around any good player. So I got people hypothesizing Shea Theodore and Logan Thompson deals for me, for example.
I'm not sure about Logan Thompson.
All I know is
Joseph
you
Wall.
look at what Vegas has done
That's
to
scary
get
to me.
great
No.
players from organizations where it's going sour. So Mark Stone, it's going sour in Ottawa. What did
Yeah.
Ottawa get? Brandstrom and other things that you
Nothing.
aren't aware of. You know, it's going sour with Eichel, so they make a deal to get Eichel. And what's Buffalo get? How's Peter
Tuck.
Krebs doing? Tuck had a good year.
He's a good player.
Krebs, I don't know, maybe there's more there,
Yeah.
but like it's not. But it's scary trading the good player.
They
is the
sniff
only point I'm
around.
making.
They sniff around distressed assets pretty well.
Well said.
Today, I wrote an article in the Toronto Star, my news and notes on it. I mentioned Markstrom wanting out, basically out of Calgary. He'd like to know very soon what's happening with him. Ottawa has shown interest. The Leafs have shown interest. New
Calgary want
Jersey's not
Korpisalo?
going away. No,
Buyout?
that'll be the challenge on that. What to do with Korpisalo if they land Markstrom?
I think they'd buy him out because there's big savings there for them.
Or that's one of those ones where you're like, hey, Chicago, here's a couple picks
Is
to take a
Chicago
deal.
still going to try to lose?
Yeah, probably.
No, they got to try to win again.
No. You can't teach Bedard how to lose.
Too many years now.
Well, they lost
2 years
1
in a
year
row.
with Bedard.
Yeah.
I don't
and
know.
when did it
Anyway,
again
For it to
Celebrini.
work for the Leafs, Markstrom, they cannot take the 6+. They're gonna have to eat a mill and a half for sure. If you can get Markstrom, if the Leafs can get Markstrom at 4,
Mhm.
again by sweetening the pot on the return, then you look at Markstrom and Joseph Wall for 2 years grooming Wall.
Don't hate it.
Can I ask, though, don't we go back into the same scenario of the ownership thing with Treliving and trading with the Flames and the Leafs? Like, aren't we right back into that? Is
So,
that, do
but
they
it
get
doesn't
over
seem
that?
Like they would. Well, yeah, maybe it isn't a bigger issue.
Listen, you got to move Markstrom.
Yeah.
So
they had to move Tanev.
So if it's not directly with the Leafs, then it could be with a third team, right? So it kind of and you got a really upset player in Calgary, which is not sitting well for that organization right now.
No, you don't want that around your team going into the next year when everyone's all excited for a new season. You got to start a goalie who doesn't want to be there.
You can talk about, grooming Wall into the number one starter, and it seems like the 2-year thing is truly like perfect in terms of, but I don't trust that he's ever going to be able to be the number
I
one.
actually feel like with Joseph Wall, it's either like he's
It's
ready to be a number
really,
one,
though, but
or he's
there's-
too injury
there's-
prone to be a number one.
You don't have to find out tomorrow, right? Markstrom will hold the fort for the next year at least, for sure. And then what you want to do with him on the last year of a deal, perhaps you can move off of it and slide Joseph Wall in. And if he's not ready, maybe he's not ready at all, and then you got to revamp everything in 2 years anyways.
Yeah. To me, I'm loving that this is a priority in the offseason, getting a real goalie. Like, it seems that they have kind of prioritized this, and you can't just keep trying out these projects in Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner's prime here. You gotta
I
get
did
a
write
real
in my
goalie.
latest article that this year's playoffs, I think, revalidated the idea of elite goaltenders. Because for a minute there, everyone was like, you can win with
Aiden
Darcy
Hill.
Kemper, Aiden Hill, whatever. And it's like, you can sometimes.
Yeah, you can.
Anything can happen. You certainly can. But
Did you
mostly
credit
you win
Skinner
with great
for that so
goaltenders.
far?
Well, that's it. But Skinner's been kind of a lone wolf amongst Shesterkin, Ottinger, Bobrovsky, Saros, Swayman, guys that have been very good in playoffs this year.
Yeah.
And let's not forget Allmark out there. He's going.
He's going for sure,
Yeah.
but I don't think would the Bruins trade him to the Leafs? Seems like a
Ottawa. Yeah, they have to.
I
in
take
division. Does that matter?
Swayman's going to come in with $8 million. You got to move him somewhere.
He's so good, Swayman.
I'd take Allmark
For sure, but
cheaper than than Markstrom.
you think they'd trade him to the Leafs? I have a hard time believing they'd do that. Division rival? That
These are
doesn't
great
does that
points.
not matter?
Yeah, it matters a bit. It matters a bit.
Listen,
But not
in
if
a
you
perfect
not if
world,
you're
you'd
offering the
send
best
him to
return.
you send him to LA, but
They tried, didn't they?
I think they did, and you
Yeah.
shut it down.
Oh wow.
Okay. Doug Armstrong made some news today as he's going to remain with the team throughout the 28-29 season, but he's going to move Alexander Steen to be GM in 2026.
So explain to me what's happening here.
No.
can't.
You're going to explain to me
Okay.
what the rush is
To name the GM.
to say he's going to be the GM in 2 years. A lot of things can happen in 2 years.
Oh my God.
Like I'm watching people like here today, gone.
Yeah.
In
you could
shorter
see them
time than
saying
this.
to him, to Steen, we see you as the GM in a couple of years. Here's the track we're going to put you on. We're going to help you work with Armstrong, and when it's time, you'll be the GM. You don't need to tell all of us.
I don't get it.
I was
don't
confused
understand.
by it
Ryan
too.
Miller is there as an AGM. He's
Is it-
been assistant GM. So like he must be like, wait, am I not? Why hit? Well, I'm out of here then. If you're going to just tell me I'm not going to be the succession plan.
I don't know. I guess they just love Steen and they want
they
to
do,
know that
but
he's part of the
I think
plan.
it puts too much pressure on him already. Like it's just unnecessary eyeballs.
Yeah.
You think? I mean, people will just forget maybe about this in a year.
maybe. But
Doug Armstrong, give him credit. This is the new you get to keep your job for a long time job.
I'm
I'm just going to
this
sit
smart move.
upstairs.
Smart move.
Very
Hold this
smart.
person in front of me.
Very smart.
You're going to fire someone. He's
And
the
yeah,
GM.
I do buy into a little bit of, hey, we missed the playoffs and we're not sitting still here. We're going to be progressive, and here's a great game plan in 2 years.
Yeah.
And look at what we're doing. We're not sitting on our hands.
And it's like tangibly what has actually changed? Nothing.
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 They've told us that maybe eventually things will, unless you're both fired by then.
Not to make it about the Leafs, but
You do that.
this breaks my heart a little bit. Doug Armstrong was always the guy that I kind of saw
Yeah.
as like the next Shanny. He was always the guy that I had my eyes on, and he's local guy. Where's he from?
Good Canadian boy.
I always thought that he may be the next, because his contract's up after next year. I always thought that maybe he would be the one that would move in after, but looks like he's staying with the Blues for a longer term. Anyways.
Does indeed.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Game 3 tonight. Edmonton Oilers.
They don't. Yeah. They got to win. That's all.
Well,
Yeah,
they really.
no kidding.
They really.
That's my mom's analysis too. Kid.
They need Connor or Leon to say we will win.
Yeah.
Tonight.
Verbally, you want them to actually say it
Guarantee it, baby.
they win
It's been
tonight.
done before.
this
Yeah.
early?
They'll win tonight. Oilers will win
Give me a
tonight.
score.
I think they'll win 3-1 tonight with an
Nice.
empty netter.
Nice.
4-3 in overtime. Oilers.
Oh,
Bunch of goals. Just the
Yeah,
worst
I,
call.
I, I, think,
horrible.
I think the offense could get going here. I go 5-3.
Okay.
5-3.
I go 8 tonight. Got a
okay.
goalie night tonight.
Okay.
All
That'll be
right.
fun.
Our thanks to David Amber. Hockey Night in Canada. 8 p.m. Eastern is Puck Drop.
Can't wait.
All right.
Quote Bart Scott, my Jets boy.
If you get a chance, give us a rating and review. We'd love to hear from you. I hope you're still enjoying the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. Have a great time, everybody, watching Game 3.